Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Aqueduct Racetrack here on Saturday. It is the 27th of September, 2025. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Belmont to Big A. Before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes action from Aqueduct races 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. A smorgasbord of racing. The fourth race from Aqueduct, it is the Belmont Turf Sprint. It's a grade 3 event going for a $200,000 purse race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses entered. The 8 horses in MTO. We're going to be on the turf, so don't worry about him. 7 horses are going to the outer turf course, 1,200-meter journey, or 6 furlongs of that outer turf course. The rails are down tonight or today at Aqueduct, so just keep that in mind on both turf courses. I'm going to go with the 4-horse Allegon as the top selection. We're going to go 4-5-2-3 in the superfecta. 4-5-2-3 super. Top selection 4-horse Allegon. This 6-year-old gelding by California Chrome here. Edward Allard trains. Dylan Davis gets them out. They ran the horse most recently on the 6th September Colonial, 5.5 furlongs on the outer turf course in the DeHaas Stakes. And he got a second by a neck that day. And he stalked all the way around the race course. He really gained some ground late. I didn't think it was a half bad race in the feed. He's coming up north to Aqueduct where he's run very well in the past. I think he can run a good race here today. He ran a subpar race, I thought, 2 back in the Troy at Saratoga, 5.5 in the Melon the 3rd of August. He finished 4th by 2 3/4 lengths that day. He was very wide, and he just never really got going. Maybe 6 is his better trip. He just was very weird that day. Again, in the Jaipur, I thought he gained some ground. The winner just had to jump on this horse. This horse is wide, but he got down the race course well there on that very boggy going. And then in the Elusive Quality, his seasonal reappearance here at Aqueduct in early May, it's a third place finish from a tracking trip, really closed up well. He's one of these good high to mid 90 buyers as of recently. Ran a good third in this race last year. I think he's coming to the race a little bit better than he did last year. Hasn't won since last year's Aqueduct Turf Championship last October. But like I said, he's running terrific races, training well at Delaware. Give him a shot on the ticket. The 5-horse 26 Black, Flavian and Horacio de Paz. I read an article this afternoon on the train home about Fabian going to be spending the winter here in New York. Hopefully he knows. A New York winter is very cold. It's not a French winter. It's a New York winter. He's going to freeze his ass off in action in the middle of February. It's going to be cool. He's going to win the riding title most definitely. But this horse ran in the Disco Partner at Saratoga 5.5 on closing weekend, where he won by 2 1/4 lengths. He was very wide, but he ran a terrific race with that 100 buyer. That was a good run. Prior to then, the Troy nearly stole it from the back pack, finishing second by 1 1/4 lengths. Another triple-digit buyer. That was a very good run. Prior to that, against State Bread Company and the Ashley T. Cole, he finished 4th by 2 3/4 lengths, where he just was flat. But had an okay 4th in elusive quality back here at Aqueduct back in May. His form since over the summer really went up a lot. Another horse that likes this turf course. He's drawn well. 2 to 1 at 9 to 5. No, it's a chip price, but he's a horse that can definitely win. I'll use him on the ticket. But to recap my selection for the 4th from Aqueduct, it's the Belmont Turf Sprint. Going to take the 4-horse Allegon. Give kudos to the 5-horse 26 Black. 4-5-2-3 Super. 4-5 in the multi race. To the inner turf course with the 5th race now from Aqueduct, which is the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. It's a grade 1 event going for a $500,000 purse races for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 7 horses entered. 6, 7 are MTOs. 5 will head to the inner turf course, 2,400-meter journey, or a mile and a half on the inner turf course. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the 1-horse Cordobos as a top selection, excuse me. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 5 in the superfecta. 1, 2, 3, 5 super. Top selection 1-horse El Cordobas. This 5-year-old gelding, 4-year-old gelding by Frankel here. Charlie Outbeat trains Flavian, or John Velasquez getting him out. Flavian rode this horse most recently. The Sword Dancer at Saratoga, mile and a half on the 9th of August, where he won by half a length that day. He had a green tracking trip all throughout. He quickened up nicely behind Rebel Red, who, really had a dream trip right behind him that day. Rebel Red closed up well. This horse closed up even better than him. That was a good run. 105 bar, very good, quick 225 final time. Nothing bad about that run. Something here with a smaller, compact field, hopefully being a little bit more into it early on. I think he's better than Stablemate, and I think he could get the trip to win. He ran 2 back at the 10th of July at Newmarket, a mile and a half in the Group 2 Princess Wales Stakes, and he won by 2 lengths that day. And again, he stalked all the way around the race course. When Williams said go with him, he went off clear. That was an impressive run. Really coming back and trip was his preferred thing. They tried him staying in the mile three quarter Grand Cup Stakes at York, a listed race where he finished third by 3 3/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of weakened out a bit. Like I said, I think mile and a half is his preferred trip there. And then the Aston Park Stakes in Newbury over the mile and a half, finishing third by 3 lengths. Adon's a different, decent horse who won that day. This horse was with him early on, but then just kind of hit the wall. But he won a Newmarket on the Guineas weekend, Class 2 handicap, quite impressively from the back of the pack. That was a very, very good race. Race over the winter and in Dubai weren't bad at all. He's definitely going to improve. Coming here at 3-1, I think he can win. For the two horse redistricting to win also for Flavian and Chad Brown. He won the UN at Monmouth quite impressively. Wasn't the world's strongest UN, but he really closed up from the mid pack to get the job done. He won the Monmouth Stakes prior to that quite impressively also. He's a horse that's taking him a little bit of time to get right, but when they've gotten him right, he's really run these terrific races. Comes to a mile and a half for the first time. I'll give him a shot on the ticket, but don't throw out the three horse Rebels Romance, who's an incredible horse. He's been around, it seems, for like the last 10 years now. He's a multiple British Cup winner. He's won in almost every single country in the world, it seems. He's had a great season when the Yorkshire Cup, the Hardwick, he won in Berlin and Hoppegarten a few weeks ago. He won in Qatar earlier this year. The only subpar race he ran this year was basically the Shima Classic, where he just couldn't get there late. The winner just had to jump on him. But he's done everything right. He's won in Hong Kong. He's training well locally. He's proven that he can run a good race here stateside. Back to Aqueduct for the first time in 2 years. I'll give him a shot on the ticket. Last time he ran, he was on that sloppy outer turf course in the against Warlike Goddess, where Warlike Goddess had the turn foot. This horse was really gaining behind him though, but that was a very exciting turf classic. But this one's going to be exciting too. To recap my selection now for the fifth from Aqueduct, it's Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. I'm going to take the one horse Alcott Orbis and give kudos to the two horse redistricting the three horse Rebels Romance 1, 2, 3, 5 Super 1, 2 in the multi race 1, 2, 3 in the multi race. Now the sixth race from Aqueduct, it is the Woodward Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a $300,000 purse race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 7 horses are entered. We're going to have a field of only 3 horses entered. It's going to be easier to just tell you the 3 horses that are going to be running here. The 2 horse post time will be running. The 6 horse Phileas Fogg will be running, and the 7 horse Locked will be running. So all the other horses are going elsewhere. Although a lot of horses are going to Delaware, a lot of horses are going to Churchill. So with that being said, my top selection, I'm going to take the 7 horse Locked. We're going to do exacta here, 7-2 Locked with post time. So 7-2 exacta, using both in the multi race. But the top selection is 7 horse Locked. This 4-year-old Colt by Gunrunner here. Tom Pletcher's range. John Velasquez gets the mount. Ran the horse most recently in the Suburban at Saratoga, the 4th of July of the mile quarter. Finished third by 6.5 lengths that day, and he was just wide, never really getting into it. His last 2 races just have been a little bit too subpar. I thought he's been facing, tough horses there, behind the Stimate Fierceness in the Alashiba. He finished fourth by 6 1/4 lengths, where he's very wide and just a little bit flat that day. But his races at the end of the last year into early this year, he had a great streak. Reappeared here in optional 6-2 at the end of October, going 7/8, quite impressive by 7.5 lengths. Came back to win the Cigar Mile quite impressively and had a massive place behind the eventual Pegasus World Cup winner, White Barrio, and then came back to win the Santini Handicap quite impressive with a 109 buyer. And then he fell a little bit, but the buyer numbers didn't fall a lot. I think his serious ability here today. He's training well in the Oklahoma at Saratoga, 9-5. I think he can get back to some winning ways. The 2 horse post time is quite cool. Also, he won the Polynesian at Laurel over the 1 turn mile quite impressively a few weeks ago with a 103 buyer. He basically running against nobodies, but it's still a good run. His race in the Whitney was just a little bit flat. He also had a very wide trip. But when he's come here to New York, to Aqueduct especially, he runs these good races. He had a very good sneaky second place finish in last year's British Cup Dirt Mile. Very good third in last year's Cigar Mile. Watch out for him here today in this one. Like I said, he's a very cool horse. But to recap my selection for the 6 from Aqueduct, it is the Woodward. We're going to take the 7 horse Locked. We're going to use the 2 horse post time. We'll go 7-2 in the exact and multi race. But throw in Phileas Fogg also if you have the extra ticket here. So we're going to head over to race number 8 now from Aqueduct. Before I go to race number 8, just remember race number 7. There's a big carryover in the pick 6 that begins with race 6, with race 7. So and it's a very good turf race. So make sure you go play that pick 6 because you're going to make some money with it. But we're going to go to race 8 now from Aqueduct, which is the Gallant Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a $250,000 purse race for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds, and upwards. We have a field of 9 horses going 1,300 meters or 6.5 furlongs in the Gallant Bloom. Take the number 2 horse here, who is Impel as a top selection. 2, 5, 4, 8 in the superfecta for me. 2, 5, 4, 8 super. Top selection 2 horse Impel. This 4-year-old followed by Quality Road. Brad Cox trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently and the Groupie Dollar Ellis 1 mile on the 10th of August, and he won by a head that day. Getting back to some winning ways against some stakes quality horses, she stalked around the race course, was a little bit wide, but she came home clear. 90 buyers. She's come home with slightly better buyers in the past, but it was a good race. I like her getting back to 6.5. Should she a strong pace to go with? I think she's sitting on that good run. Two back at Churchill, the 1 turn mile and optional 80. She won by 1 1/4 lengths that day, and as a second choice that day, she was very wide, got a little traffic late, but she came home cleared down the lane. 75 buyer, again, not a very fast race, but still a good run there. Then at Churchill, mile Nathan optional 80, finishing fifth by length. If you look through her form, 2 turns, I just don't think she likes that. I think she likes a 1 turn mile. 6.5 today will be in her wheelhouse, but 2 turns, just throw that race out. And then off the bench in the at Keelan going 6.5 in April. She needed the race, finishing fourth by 5 1/4 lengths. She was just a little bit flat. Refresh me here, training well Churchill. I'm gonna give her a shot on the ticket. I think the 5 horse here, Sterling Silver for Belmont and Junior Alvarado Quinn also, they've been running basically almost exclusively in against Statebreds. Most recently, the Yado on the turf over the mile 16. She finished fourth by 4 1/4 lengths, where she just didn't do a lot of running. Her turf numbers aren't great, but I thought the Johnstone race that came up very tough at Saratoga this past summer over the 7-8, she ran a good third place finish that day. And then the Critical Eye around 2 turns, she ran a very good place. Most recent race against Open Company, it wasn't a bad race at all in the Ruffian over the 1 turn mile here in the spring, where she finished second by 3/4 length, really gaining some ground. She ran this rain last year on the very sloppy going and had a decent third behind Ways and Means. Watch out for her today. Like I said, I think she's a decent horse that can find a trip. 7 to 2, good price compared to the others in the sequence. But to recap my selection for the eighth from Aqueduct, now it's Gallant Blue. I'm going to take the 2 horse Impel. Give kudos to the 5 horse Sterling Silver. Worry. 2, 5, 4, 8 super. 2, 5 in the multi race. Let's head over to the ninth race from Aqueduct. And I'm going to say this every year. Why isn't the Vosburgh a grade 1? It's a grade 3, which is even more of a head scratcher. But the ninth race from Aqueduct, it is the Vosburgh Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a $200,000 purse race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 9 horses going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs. Going to take the 1 horse Scotland as a top selection. 1, 2, 9, 8 in the superfecta. 1, 2, 9, 8 super. Top selection 1 horse Scotland. It's 5-year-old Golden Bay Good Magic here. Belmont trains. Junior Alvarado gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the Forgo at Saratoga, 7 furlongs on the 23rd of July, and he finished second by a length that day. And it has no worldly pace, but he benefited from a flying pace up front. He really closed up well into it late. Book him down, just had the jump on him. But this horse, he got down the race course well. Prior to that, Saratoga off the long refreshing of about 10 months, 7 furlongs option under claimer. He finished third by length that day. And again, he sat back early, moved his way into the race. Not a bad race in the feet there. And then last year's Cherokee Mile, Churchill, the 1 turn mile, winning by 2 1/4 lengths. They bypassed the Cigar Mile to run him there, and he took home the check. That was a good tracking trip that he got the job done. He ran last year's Vosburgh where he placed behind Mufasa, who again ran a little bit better than him, but not a bad race in the feed. Came back to run the Boulder Ruler where he just was a little bit flat that day. It was very, very wide. But I think he has serious ability. Coming here to a 7 furlong trip off some decent buyer numbers. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 2 horse Nash for Godolphin and Flavian Coon also. He was a winner 2 back in option 100 at Church over the 6 furlongs, winning by a nose coming from mid pack. 108 buyer. He was flying up front. Came back to run on the Vanderbilt where he snuck up the place. He just did not do a lot of running. Coming here to a 7 furlong trip, training well. I'll give him a shot 6 to 1 on the ticket. But to recap my selection now for the ninth from Aqueduct, it is the grade 3 Vosburgh, which is again a head scratcher. Gonna take the 1 horse Scotland. Give kudos to 2 horse Nash. 1, 2, 9, 8 super. 1, 2 in the multi race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.